Hi there. My name is Avil Beckford, and I'm the founder and the host of the One Problem podcast. There are tons of problems in the world, but why should we be overwhelmed? Let's tackle them one problem at a time. As has been the case, most of the people who come on this podcast, I have some prior relationship with them. And that's the case with today's guest, Lisa Goldenthal. And she's a high performance executive coach. Over to you, Lisa.
Avril, thank you so much for having me. This is so fun. Today's one problem and solution that I would like to provide is all about the toxic talent drain. In other words, the quiet quitting that everybody is telling me is a big problem they want to address with executive coaching. So today's topic, I'm going to help you go from frustration to freedom with a communication wake-up call. It'll be just 5 minutes and let's jump in. So I don't know if you have experienced mass team exit like in the office, but before we continue, I want to tell you that I got your back. Because early on, I thought I was a relationship pro, but when people started walking out, I realized I actually was the common denominator, which is a huge wake-up call and why I'm so passionate about this topic. You have seen them, I'm sure, those comments about feeling undervalued, out of the loop. In these uncertain times, if you ever find yourself channeling your inner Michael Scott from The Office, where no one thrives under pressure, if you've been there, don't worry. It's a common problem and we can solve it. Because after the problem of failed relationships, I realized I was a common denominator because I had some severe blind spots in my EQ and communication. So here's your formula. EQ plus communication equal retention freedom. There you go. So I dug deep, worked on my communication skills, and attracting talent is easy, but keeping them engaged and inspired, that's the golden ticket. So let's unpack this. Here's a secret sauce. EQ, emotional intelligence, understand what drives your team, know their aspirations. When you can connect on a personal level, they feel valued, even in today's VUCA environment. Volatile, uncertain, complex, ambiguous, hyper-competitive. So you have to foster these deep connections, especially with remote teams. So I want to know how you guys are doing this. One great communication example I would like to share with you, because clear communication and consistent and open dialogue is crucial. Everyone wants to understand their role, their progress, and the direction of the organization. So open communication creates a sense of belonging that everybody wants and a sense of purpose. Obviously, wouldn't you prefer to work with a visionary leader rather than just feel like another cog? That's part of the problem. People need to feel connected to the bigger picture, or they'll be disengaged. Check it out with other options. And I want to know if this is a problem that you're experiencing right now. One quick communication mastery tip that I love is to ask for clarity. If someone asks you a question, just state it back to them and see if you got it right. So if I'm hearing it correctly, what you're saying is, so people want to feel heard, repeat back what they said and ask them to clarify, and then just say, is that right? That simple tool can help you. And the last tip I have for your audience is something I'm passionate about because I have experienced it on the other end of the spectrum, which is emotional regulation. Leadership isn't about being emotionless. It's about managing your feelings effectively. So staying composed under pressure sounds easy, but not in these disruptive times. Assures and secures your team. How do you keep your cool? Well, again, the technique that I taught you today is to repeat back what was said. This buys you some time to compose your response. So the gap between the stimulus and the response is your mindset. You have to have a growth mindset, not a fixed mindset, like, oh, we've always done it that way, and this is the way it's supposed to be. We have to start learning in this world that we don't all think the same, but we have to hear the other person, and that doesn't mean you agree with them. So those are my tips for today, is the communication, the EQ, active listening, emotional regulation. By mastering these areas, you can revitalize your workplace culture. And with the CEOs I've worked with, attrition dropped and retention rates climbed. So those are my hot tips for today on building a better, more engaged, less quiet quitting team.
Thank you so much. One of the things you said, like I learned it a long time ago when I was studying computer science, which I've never worked in, but they always said that you always reinterpret what was said to you to prevent miscommunication. And that works wonder. So thank you so much, Lisa, and have a good day.
Thank you, Avril.